Ron Harris from MuscularDevelopment.com here at the Legion Sports Fest Expo in Long Beach, California with this man, Mike Rashid. If you've ever watched YouTube, you probably know who he is. He's got a lot of videos with tons and tons of views, enormously popular, which is kind of strange because, Mike, you're a professional boxer, correct?
Right.
Which typically they don't do a whole lot of social media and videos, things like that. How did you get into the whole fitness scene and becoming a celebrity in the fitness world as well?
Okay, well, I actually stopped boxing years ago, and I never turned pro. It was an amateur. Fitness, you know, I've always been in shape my entire life. So working out, when people say, when did you get into fitness, I'm like, all my life. But the industry started taking off and social media started taking off in 2012, and I was in that wave, you know, so people took note. And it was fitness stuff, you know, and my style of training. But then last year, or 2 years ago, I decided, you know what? I never turned pro as a fighter. I want to do it. I want to get back in. So I lost some weight, you know, kind of changed up how I trained. You know, I had to go do all my testing and everything to turn pro. Did all of that stuff. Then I started training, booked a fight and trained for a fight and started fighting. So, you know, the fighting came after that. Wow. You know, and it wasn't a thing that I needed to do like for a career or whatever, but it was something that I really love. I love boxing. And I didn't want to, like, before it's all said and done, I didn't want to have closed my book without ever writing that chapter as a professional boxer. So that's what I did.
So how old were you when you turned pro?
40.
40. I'm guessing that's kind of unusual in boxing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Guys usually quit around, these days, you know, people taking care of themselves pretty good. So there's guys that retire 45, not even at 43, 42.
Yeah.
But usually guys retire late 30s, you know, yeah.
I mean, I grew up in the 70s. I remember it was unusual to see a boxer past the age of 35 ever.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing back then. But you know, people got more knowledge on nutrition and health, and you know, back then, fighters only fought. They just trained to fight. But now you can, there's a lot of things that people do to, you know, rejuvenate and preserve themselves. And, you know, so many different things out there. We call it biohacking to kind of help extend our quality of life. So, you know, just like life expectancy is longer now, and a fighter's lifespan in his career is longer now too.
So, you know, everyone and their grandmother has a YouTube channel now, obviously.
Right.
People have millions and millions of options, but a lot of them gravitate towards your videos and your workouts. You know, what kind of feedback do you hear from people? Why do they like watching your videos and listening to your advice? Do you have a certain style or a certain approach to fitness that other people aren't giving them?
Yeah, when I first started doing videos, you know, I was like, this is called overtraining, because people have such a bizarre notion that everybody got to train the same way, one body part a week, yada yada yada. And yeah, that works for a lot of people, but I was always thin growing up. I had to train a lot. Like, I would do things like chest 3 times a week and legs each day, and you know, what they would call overtraining. So I said, you know what, all right, overtraining is a good thing. So I guess it's a different twist. People, they see how hard I go on my videos. Like, if I tell people without showing, like, yo, all right, in this video I'm doing this, I'm doing that, they wouldn't believe me. But I got the proof, it's all there, you know what I mean? So I guess the training is so intense. It's you know, people get inspired by that, you know? But I also teach the tactics. I teach everything that I do. I want to educate them on why. It's a method to the madness, because my training is madness, but it's a method and it works for me. And that's the biggest takeaway, is that this is what I do. And I tell people, like, this may not work for you. You don't have to do this. Try it, try everything, you know, try many things. Because everybody talks this bro science stuff, like, and what it do is make people afraid to think for themselves. Like, no, fucking come up with it on your own. You know what I mean?
It's funny that you talk about you have a overtraining approach. With people now are afraid to train. They're afraid to hit a body part more than once a week. They think they're going to overtrain, they're going to shrink. But you know, back in the Arnold days, they trained body parts 2 or 3 times a week.
They wrote. Look, this is science, right? We going in there and we're forcing adaptation, right? In the gym, we are the scientists on our own bodies. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I didn't have YouTube and all of that growing up to have a reference to on how to work out. Yeah. I just went in and did what I can do. Looked around the gym, seeing what the big guys was doing, try to mimic that. but added my own thing to it, you know? So, you know, overtraining, bro science, I take all of those words. I take all those terms because people, you know, they think that you gotta think like them. Yeah. If you do something different than what I do, oh, no, that's not right. You can't do that. So I just wanted to shake up the status quo a little bit, start some shit. Yeah. And I did, and I love it. And my methods are tried and true. You know, I've trained lots of people. A lot of people use my program, and myself, I've been in shape my entire life. I was a 400-pound bench presser before I was even 200 pounds. Wow. You know, so I've been strong all my life. Because I was thin, but I wanted to be the strongest dude, you know. I grew up watching Arnold, you know, and all of those guys, so I wanted to be mighty and powerful like those dudes. So, but one thing that I always had, I had a love for lifting weights, but when I boxed, when I thought I was going to turn pro when I was younger, you know, I did both. So I feel like I always had an advantage, you know what I mean? See,
you know, boxers typically aren't this big, this thickly muscled.
Right,
I assume you're a heavyweight boxer?
Correct.
Are you one of the shorter heavyweights?
I'm only 6 foot. I fight.
Only 6 foot?
Yeah. No, when I say that because the average heavyweight is 6'5".
Yeah, I mean.
6'5", 250.
Right.
So I'm 6 foot, 220 on a good day, but usually 217, 215. You know, so yeah, it's different. It's a completely, but here's the thing though. Yeah. Like, if you take a muscular guy, now the training is a lot harder. It is what it is because I need to deliver a lot more oxygen to my body because my muscles are taking it up from my lungs. So I'm gassing out. So I got to do a lot more. But I look better in the ring, you know what I mean? And the fact that I've always knew how to leverage my body for punches and lifted weights. I never got too tight to throw lucid punches. So the weight training, it makes you so much stronger and explosive. But a typical guy that's, you know, bodybuilding most of his life, when you try to transfer into boxing, it's damn near impossible to throw hard shots because they just don't have that concept of how to move the body properly. So, but they have so much power, but they're not able to deliver it properly. So I got that little advantage, you know.
It seems to me like boxing, when I was a kid, boxing was very popular.
Right.
And then MMA came along, UFC, and every kid wanted to be an MMA fighter.
Right.
Do you ever see boxing coming back to overtake MMA?
Okay, when you say overtake, what is it?
As far as like in popularity, money, exposure, all that.
All right, so I could talk money, and boxing, MMA has never even come close to grossing what boxing gross.
They don't pay as well.
No, they don't. And the promoter is only one main. See, all right, boxing and UFC. It's funny we say UFC boxing because it should be boxing MMA.
Right.
But you know, Dana White, who's the head of the UFC, he's essentially a promoter who has a monopoly, you know?
Right.
So other organizations can't compete against each other because UFC for us would be WBC. They go against the WBA, the IBF. So much competition, it gives the fighters the opportunity to make a lot of money. They don't have that luxury in UFC. Your biggest name fighters, their biggest payday, like a pure UFC fight check, is no more than $3-4 million. Right?
Boxing, what's the highest purse anyone's won the last like 10 years? 100 million?
100 million.
Wow.
And that guy promoted his fight, so he made more than that on the back end. But as just signing a check from the sport, 100 million, you know what I mean?
Tell us what this is all about. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The highest paid MMA or UFC fighter made his highest payday in boxing. He made 100 million.
Conor McGregor.
Exactly, the notorious one. You know?
Okay. So
and we want him back. He need to come back.
Oh, he'll come back. He wants that money again.
Yeah.
So you have this booth here, this display. What is this company, Ambrosia Collective?
Yeah, Ambrosia Collective is my supplement company. Myself, my partner, Sean Trobati, and I have another partner named Mark Lobliner in Chicago. But what can I say? This is a unique company, Ambrosia. We don't focus on traditional sports nutrition like fat burners and BCAAs. Rather that, we create products that are good for people, like internally, you know? So people can look fit and healthy and not be healthy on the inside. So we focus on real health from inside out, optimizing your health and your lifestyle to where you don't need a fat burner. You don't need a pre-workout. You got energy, you know. We got products that resets the circadian rhythm while giving you restful sleep. You know, things of that nature. Products that deliver magnesium to the brain, passing the blood-brain barrier. Organ support that tastes really good, you know. So that's what we do, you know. It's important stuff. It's not the low-hanging fruit that everyone's used to.
Pre-workouts.
That's the lowest of hanging fruit, and I get it. But our stuff, it takes a little more. Like the marketing for my product is education, is teaching people, identifying the problem, these issues, talking about ingredients and how we put them together, just educating them like that, and they're like, yeah, I need that. You know what I mean? It gives us a deeper relationship with the customers. It may not be as many customers, but the ones that we have, they stay, you know?
Mike, I wish you all the success with this. Your YouTube channel does very well. And you know, people wouldn't watch it if it wasn't helping them out.
No doubt, no doubt.
Because they have a lot of options out there. So
lots of options, but they know they're getting some good food for the soul. For me, you know, I only provide content that I think is beneficial to them. That's it.
Last question: do you have another fight lined up?
No, I'm working on a deal in the United Kingdom with a decent sized promotional company. I don't want to say the details until it's done, but when that goes through, I'll be fighting out there 5 times.
Oh wow!
Next year, in 1 year. Yeah.
Cool. I'm sure your many fans in this world would love to see you come back and do that again, for sure.
Oh yeah, that'll happen. Yeah. For sure. Cool.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate you doing the interview. Best of luck with Ambrosia Collective.
Thank you.
This has been Mike Rashid from MuscularDevelopment.com. Thanks for watching.